We are back. The Ring Boys are back. Huge fight night in St. Louis. I'm here with my beautiful co-hosts, Doc and Artie. Boys, how we feeling?
Doing good. Doing good. Ready for 301 or 302 now. 302. That'll be exciting. Can't wait. June 1st.
Doc?
I'm just excited that the whole crew is back again, you know?
The boys are back in town.
Yeah, it honestly feels naked without you, man. We need you in here at all times. But nonetheless, we got a card to break down. See it on your screen for all you watching on YouTube, for all you listening via podcasts. Read off the prediction accuracies. Artie 7 for 12, myself 8 for 12, Doc 6 for 12, bringing you to a yearly overall total. Artie 110 for 197, me 116 for 197, and Doc 109 for 197. So Doc, when you make fun of my math skills behind the scenes, just look who's in the lead. But yeah, I'll leave this on the screen for a bit and then we'll segue out of it. We'll start right from the main event. And Derrick Lewis just doing absolutely Derrick Lewis-like things. Decimating Rodrigo Nascimento, taking off his gloves, taking out his cup, throwing it to the media table, and then mooning the crowd. Interesting thing. Said, he's getting 38. Bisping said he's in his prime, and he's like, I don't know, I might have to rethink some things. So I don't know. Derrick Lewis not showing signs of slowing down, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Artie, what are your thoughts on the main event from the weekend?
I think Derrick Lewis will be the ultimate gatekeeper at the heavyweight division. It seems like whenever there's a new heavyweight hooked up in the lab that Dana has, Derrick Lewis is there to stop them. And Nascimento definitely had the right plan going into it, but I don't think he had anything else besides that plan, because when they were on the feet, it did not look good. Derrick, like you said, did Derrick Lewis things. He knocked him out after his coach said, that's your job. This is your bread and butter. Go out there and do it. And that's exactly what he did. But nonetheless, Nascimento, the right idea. You also have to be able to strike. I will give him one thing too. His chin is insane. That 1-2 that knocked him down would have put anybody else out. That was crazy. Doc, to you.
Yeah, overall, really good performance for Derrick Lewis. And, he said that he would come out and surprise us, and he did. He did get that nice little hip toss, brought Nascimento down. Similar to Dustin Poirier going for the guillotine, Derrick Lewis really just wanted to show that he's been establishing his grappling and trying to get him down, or get the opponents down. So it was really good to see that. That's a huge downfall in his game, but he has obviously been working really hard these last few years. We saw what he did to Marcos Rogerio de Lima with that flying knee to start off that fight. He's more athletic than he used to be. He really seems like he's training his cardio. He wasn't gassing out as easily during this fight. And overall, I'm super impressed with what Derrick Lewis has done in evolving as a heavyweight. He could be the gatekeeper moving forward, but this is the best version of Derrick Lewis that we've seen. Like we know that he's a power puncher. We know that he can knock everybody out in this division, but he is working on other elements of his game, and it's just unfortunate that he's getting up there in age. So if he would have done this 10 years ago, he could have really been an actual title contender because of that power. But I was glad to see what he did during that fight, and obviously the post-fight interview is always going to be fantastic when it's Derrick Lewis on the mic.
100%, boys. And Artie, you said this earlier in the week that Derrick Lewis, every time you feel like you see him, he's on a main event, and this was his 15th main event, and it did not disappoint at all. I mean, the man made some promises. He fulfilled them. Like you just said, Doc, his striking was incredible. I was surprised with his clinch, and when he was in half guard, he was still getting elbows off in that second round. And just, man, he went to work. Glad I bet on him. Personal belief in my boy D-Lou. And yeah. One thing I personally don't believe is I thought this was going to be all of us picking Rozboyev, but I thought about it. I went with Buckley just to shake some things up. I thought Ruzboyev should have won, and then I watched the fight, and Buckley just decimated. What I was surprised with is Ruzboyev's toughness and how many Uzbek like fans there were in the arena. Like, what are we doing randomly in St. Louis on a night like Saturday? I think I saw more like Uzbeki people there than at a family gathering, to be quite honest. Like, it was insane. But yeah, my boy Ruzboyev, I thought he was going to get finished. He survived. Shouts of illegal leg kicks, but it's like, what are you supposed to do? He didn't hit him on the head. I get the argument. Still not supposed to do that. So, Doc, I see you're shaking your head. Do you want to talk about this one real quick? Because I know you were passionate about your boy Ruzboyev.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked here. The first shock came that Ruzboyev was able to get down to this weight. I mean, he's like 6'5". Normally fights at middleweight, so super impressive that he was able to get down in weight. And I thought that the power would carry over. We've seen him run through other fighters. Buckley has a chin. Buckley got hit a bunch of times, and he was able to close distance. And what won him the fight was how easily he was able to take down Ruzboyev. And what I was thinking is that Ruzboyev has a ton of submissions. Buckley is not a submission artist. And I thought that if he was to get taken down, Ruzboyev would show more on the ground, and he just couldn't do it. And I'm not sure if it's because he hasn't faced the level of talent that Buckley brings to the table, or what it was. But excellent fight by Buckley. This is his weight class. Like, this is he's having a career resurgence, and it's great to see, because before he was just that one clip highlight that everybody knows about. That's what made him famous. But he really is a good fighter, and he's super strong in this weight class. And yeah, I was wrong, and good for Buckley.
Yeah, I guess it's good to have a career resurgence at 30 rather than like 36 like Derek Lewis. So, yeah, I think that the weight cut might have had to do something for Ruzboyev. It didn't look right. Buckley was definitely a lot stronger when it came to wrestling, and I honestly thought Nursultan could have definitely used a lot more of his range than he did, because I feel like anytime Buckley would tee off, it would be really, really up close, where he did get that knockdown and he was, getting some good shots in. But I don't know, Ruzboyev, I don't think he should ever do this again. I don't think welterweight's for him. He's a bit too big for that. He like when you said he was 6'5", when I was watching that fight, I did not realize how big he was. He was towering over Joaquin. So, yeah, I think he needs to go back to middleweight and just stay there. That this was too much, and I think on a 6-week turnaround from his last fight to cut that weight again, it might have been too much.
I wonder what was the actual strike difference in their reach. Can you look that up on the side? But yeah, the angle of being 6'5" against a 5'10" guy. I picked Buckley because I thought he'd be riding the wave. He's in home and he's just going to go do his thing. I did not think he was going to dominate him. That was very impressive to me how Joaquin Buckley took control of that fight. And there were points where I felt like Ruzboyev was active and he was landing those knees, but he just didn't get the leg kicks going. And it's like, okay, you're afraid of him to take you down. You're trying to keep it at range. Get the legs going. There was one round where I swear for 2 minutes he didn't throw a leg kick. Already, I see you're cringing. What's the difference in their reach?
He's 7 inches taller, but they have the same exact reach.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that before the fight either. That's insane. So there you go. I mean, that's why.
I was going to say, Ruzboyev, in my mind, won that first round. It was close, but I thought that he won that first round. So he was definitely able to do something. But as soon as the wrestling came out, that's where Buckley was able to control him, make sure that no submission attempts came up. And that's clearly a weakness for Ruzboyev. I don't think anybody wants to strike with him on the feet. I think Buckley was outclassed on the feet.
I agree fully. But
yeah,
overall,
I could have seen this being 29-20, 28. The 30-26 is
that was insane to me.
What are we doing?
The fact that only one judge had it at 29 was just so weird to me, because I don't know. we'll always bring up the theme of the judges' scorecard throughout the year. I feel like that's just always going to be a consistency in the UFC. But man, it doesn't look good when you're seeing 30-26. If you go back and watch that fight, you're like, how did we get the math on that one? And if you ask me how I did the math on picking Alonzo Menifield, I'll tell you I did not expect that. I mean, it was kill or be killed, but boy, did he get killed. Alonzo Menifield just got absolutely knocked out. What was it, 12 seconds? Yeah. Carlos Ulberg just, having him landed himself a top 15 ranking finally. It was apparently the third fastest finish in UFC light heavyweight history. And the New Zealander, man, he's here. He's here.
Yeah, always good at 33, getting a good highlight knockout and getting yourself into the rankings. Fight was 12 seconds long, so I don't have much more than that. Doc, to you.
I'll just say that Ulberg, he is one of the cleanest strikers in the light heavyweight division. He trains with Israel Adesanya, I'm pretty sure. He's at City Kickboxing. This guy is the real deal. He's easily a top 10 fighter in this division. I was not surprised that he knocked out Alonzo Menifield. I'm a bit shocked that Menifield thought that he could just bull rush him with how precise Ulberg is. And we've seen this in every single one of his fights. And he gets knockouts like no other because he's just so precise with his striking. So he's on the way up. You're going to see him in the top 10 soon. You're going to see him in the top 5 soon, in my opinion. One of the most exciting fighters and probably going to be on my fantasy team next year.
I know who I'm taking in the light heavyweight division now. 12-second fight. You get a 12-second talk from us. What was in 12 seconds is Matthias Rebecki's end to 16 winning streak. And we say this on the pod all the time, and it's well deserved. I'll give the golf clap to Diego Ferreira. I was not familiar with your game, bro. Rebecki was sharp, like when he was throwing things in the first round to start. I was like, okay, I'm feeling kind of good. And then that dropped Ferreira with a minute left. I was like, okay, I'm feeling a little better. But he tried to just finish him with everything in his might, and it just showed he was just gassed, and he was gassed early on. And then once I feel like Diego Ferreira smelt blood in the water, he just took over and he was like, yeah, this is my show now. But yeah, Rebecki's toughness kept him in the fight until the last second when he got TKO'd by strikes. But yeah, that's a bad loss when you're riding a hype train, and especially in that division. 16 wins. Not good to see going down. Artie?
There's just something about Brazilian fighters who are 35 plus years old. Just there's always something. But yeah, I agree with you. And what's funny is even though he did get the knockdown in the first round, I think Diego Ferreira was still up on strikes in the first round. And it started to really show about halfway through the second when Mateus really gassed out and his face was all bloody. There was a referee timeout where they had to have a doctor come in, check out his eye. He must have looked at the odds before the fight and was like, wait, I'm fighting this guy and it's supposed to be this easy. So the whole fight, he was just pushing the pace for really no good reason. His takedowns were really lazy. I think if Diego could have timed him any better, it would have been an easy knockout for him. He was just kind of diving at his legs. I don't know. It was really strange to see somebody at 155 just gas out that fast. It was not great, but yeah, hats off to Diego Ferreira. It was a good fight from him. Doc?
I can't believe that he absorbed all those punches to the face. And I'm talking about Ferreira, who got clipped so many times. And I think Rebecki, he just lost confidence in himself after throwing everything Ferreira, and he just wouldn't go down. I heard that Ferreira, he took some time off. He really had to come back because of financial issues. I saw something that he requested money for the fight like 3 weeks ahead of schedule because he needed to pay the gym, or he was like behind on his payments to the gym. He had a lot to fight for here, and I don't know, he had unrelenting will to keep pushing through even though he got clipped so many times. I'm a bit shocked that Rubeshki didn't wrestle from the beginning. I definitely was expecting it to be a wrestling heavy performance, but those punches I think would have knocked out majority of people in that division, and Ferrer just wouldn't go down. And he acted like a veteran, stayed calm, and was able to do what he needed to do with little clips in the beginning, and then pounced at the end when he knew that Reshki had nothing left.
151-60 on strikes total for the fight. 151-60. I didn't know that until I looked at it just now for Ferrer.
But think about at the end, like
yeah. That's why I'm saying, like, even significant strikes is 123-52. But that 52 that came in probably came on so early that it's just undervalued. Obviously he scored the knockdown, clean. And they were clean shots, and he just ate them like he was eating a bowl of cereal. I actually didn't know that about Diego. Doc, good pull that my boy is struggling getting it, but he gets the performance of the night. He gets the 50 G's. Hopefully he can actually eat cereal instead of punches for breakfast. In the great words of Artie, as we move along here, Sean Woodson, it was a fight. Decision merchant, Sean Woodson, hometown hero, got it done. Glad for you. I don't feel like, you're in your own backyard, you got to win. And his unorthodox style and his boxing obviously frustrated Alex Caceres. Not much to say from my end. I don't know if you boys want to add anything onto that one.
Just as always, Sean Woodson will beat people with his range. He's just so tall for featherweight. Other people struggle, and this is decision probably number 12 out of the 12 wins that he has. So good for him.
Yeah, he fought against a good fighter there, Caceres, and what's his nickname, Bruce Leroy or something like that.
Bruce Leroy.
Yeah, he puts on good performances all the time. Definitely the strongest opponent that Sean Woodson has faced, but he's not an exciting fighter in my opinion. Unlike Buckley, he really didn't show out for the fans from his hometown. So good win for him. Not the most exciting prospect, in my opinion.
Agreed. And on to another not exciting prospect and not showing up at all. Rubelis Despard. I swear to God, dude, I thought you were legit. You got fraud checked. So Waldo Cortez Acosta had what was it, a 15 ERA in the MLB? But he can barely get it like a curveball to go above 86 miles per hour. You're like just getting wrestled to the ground. Anyway, this is my lock of the card. I thought Rubelis was going to just drop him in 6 seconds. I was looking forward to the whole card, and obviously I didn't get it. But yeah, Waldo Cortez, dominant 3-round unanimous decision over Rubelis. Fraud checks him really hard, and he embraced it. He was dancing. He's doing his normal thing as he always does. He irritates the hell out of me, if I'm being quite honest. But the Dominican native was in control, stayed busy, got enough strikes to maintain position, and that's what happens when you come to the MMA with just striking. That's what happens.
Wrestling's still one of the best bases in the UFC. And for somebody he's a Taekwondo bronze medalist, right? Like, you gotta think Rubelis.
All right, Rubelis, yeah.
You gotta think he might have some sort of defense to that, like literally anything, because they do a lot of hip tosses and stuff. Like, I understand, but like, what happened? That was bad.
Maybe he does, but he did not have the gas tank at all. Obviously, at that size. I think part of it is too. I think he just practices for the first 20 seconds of a fight, and he ran out of game plan after that. Doc.
One of the commentators was saying during the fight, he's like, if I was Rubelis, all I would do in the gym every single day would be train takedown defense and grappling. you're an Olympic like champion. Like he doesn't have to practice striking. He's not going to forget striking. It's what he's been doing his whole life. But and he doesn't need to get any stronger or whatever. He has enough power to knock anybody out clearly. But he has no takedown D, and his game plan was just bad. Waldo Cortez was setting traps, trying to bring him in, trying to set up the takedowns. Every time they locked up, Rebels got taken down. So definitely fraud check. Definitely the hype train has been stopped. Obviously, everybody knows what the game plan is with a one-dimensional striker. Is you're going to try to take him down. I think he can rebound from this, but he needs time because clearly he has not been working on his deficits. So I want to see him back. I was shocked by his first performance in the UFC. I was thinking that all of his other knockouts were happening because he was facing trash in these lower level promotions, but he looked bad. And Waldo Acosta Cortez, he's not a very, very exciting guy in this division, in my opinion. So, unfortunate.
Yeah. I'm selling the big boy, if I'm quite honest. I want to see him back. I want to see him hit a clip, but I don't want to see him in the heavyweight division for too long. If he's going to waste my Saturday with the first 20 seconds turning into the 20 minutes of just, I could have been in the bathroom room making wings.
Yeah, and I think, Doc, to your point, before you said, I wonder if he was facing a bunch of trash in those lower levels of MMA. He was like the only professional fight those other people have had ever. So I wonder if you're right.
But then he knocked out who's it, Parisian?
I mean, come on, dude was on his way out too.
Who hasn't knocked out Josh
backwards?
Parisian?
I mean, come on. It was still impressive. I don't think any of us were expecting that.
I'll say it was cool. It's not impressive in the manner of like the way he went down and just gave up. Josh Parisian went down and gave up. It wasn't like a clean knockout. You know what I mean? It was still sick. Like he threw a crazy head kick, slipped, got back up, Sean O'Malley style, dropped him walking back. But I don't know. I can't like. I'll have to see who he's fighting next before I say I'm betting against him and I'm having a grudge against the big boy. But I don't like either one of these fighters right now. I'll just leave it at that. Who I do like.
Cut him.
No, not for that. You can't cut him for that yet. Who is an exciting prospect, and Doc, I'm honestly just going to give you the floor right away. Your boy Chase Hooper, and I'll also reiterate the fact that you didn't pick him, but me and Artie did. So why were you thinking Borshev was going to win this one?
Yeah, I think that I came into the fight. Chase Hooper is only a submission artist. That's what he was for the first 5 fights of his UFC career. I'm just throwing that number out there. I don't know how many he's had, but he's had 2 fights total in his UFC career where he's done things other than submission. That was the fight before this one and this fight. And this fight, he showed how much he's been working on his game, how he realizes that he can't just, although he's an amazing submission artist, now he might have hands. And Slava Claus is a great stand-up fighter. And he got clipped by Chase Hooper. And as soon as Chase Hooper gets to the ground with these guys, he gets the advantage. And he wasn't only going for submissions; he was throwing in strikes. I mean, this was so impressive. This was so impressive. I don't think anybody could have expected Chase Hooper to have leveled up this much in such a short period of time between fights. But he took the criticism from the UFC, and he's super young. He has the submission game locked down. He doesn't need to work on that anymore. He's been working on his striking, and it showed off. And this was an unbelievable performance. I can't believe that we witnessed that. I can't believe that he knocked down Slava in the first round with one punch. Like, I don't know. I don't think anybody could have predicted that. So I'm glad we got to see it. And I'm a Chase Hooper believer again. I thought he lost it for a bit there during his losing streak, but no, he's the real deal.
Artie, not to cut you off here, but you're just not going to mention the welt on Borshev's head of just being wailed. Like, it was bubbling like like a piece of like borscht was heating up and his head was gonna burst. That looked so disgusting. Yeah, I completely agree. Chase Hooper, younger than I am. Chase Hooper's 24, and he's doing this. He's been in the UFC since what, like 2019? So he's been in the game for 5 years since he was like a teenager. I'm glad Buddy can drink now because I hope he's having one with the boys right now. Artie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the move up to lightweight definitely helped him out a lot. Because I think that was one of the biggest things, especially like his last few fights as well, where he just looked better at the higher weight. And he proved it once again. He's great on, like, he showed that he could be good on his feet, and he is still just as good of a wrestler as he was before. So that's scary. For someone, how old is he? What would you say?
24.
Yeah, that's a little
Crazy.
scary for the lightweight division. So, I hope we see way more of him. But yeah, it's exciting.
I don't know why the first fight I thought that I would want to see Chase Hooper go against when we had that draw with Nazim Sadikov and Borshev. I would love to see Chase Hooper go against Sadikov. Maybe it's a little too early. Maybe he needs another fight before that. But I think that's an interesting fight, like a freestyle guy versus Chase Hooper, young guy who's not ready, who's not afraid to just scrap and get to any point in the ring.
I think he can have anybody that's ranked. Put him against someone top 15 and see what he does.
I agree. Also seeing what Esteban Ribovics did to T-Mac. That leg kick just sat him down. KO. Good night. Did he get a performance bonus for that? I don't think he did. Which is kind of weird. I don't think he
did either. Yep.
Yeah, no performance bonus. That's weird. Terrence McKinney going into this, we all took him as a dog. And I think I'll speak for all of us. Esteban, we were not familiar with your game. And Terrence McKinney just absolutely sat down. Nothing else to say about it.
All I'll say is that it was a beautiful kick directly to the face. Some people are saying that it hit like the chest, broke the collarbone. I don't know. I thought it definitely connected with the face. And what I also know is that every single fight that McKinney, when McKinney comes out, he either knocks the other guy out or he gets knocked out. Super exciting fighter, does not make for a long career doing this. So you got to protect yourself, man.
Yeah, it was not a very pretty picture at the end of that. Him against the cage did not look great. But yeah, like you said, I was just looking back at his last 5. It's like he had only one fight that went over a minute. So, you're exactly right. He either goes in, gets a knockout, or gets knocked out.
Also, shout out Ribovics for not like following up on the kick. He could have done a lot of damage while Terrence McKinney didn't move for minutes after that. And his face was wide open. He couldn't move his left arm. So props to him for not following through, but he knew how well he connected. And I'm excited to see where he goes from here. Clearly a lot of power, at least in one of his limbs. So
sometimes when you get that shot off, you just feel it. And as a fighter, you ride that adrenaline. So I wasn't going to want to talk about this one, but I have to because Tabitha Ricci, a really hard fought fight, a split decision. And I know, guys, we can all start clapping. I finally got a win in fantasy. Oh my God. No, just me. Anyway. Thank you very much. I'm almost at double digits. Don't gas me up. Tabitha Ricci just beating Raquel Pennington's wife, as I like to call her now. Yeah, she got the takedown. She obviously got struck a little bit more, but her control and everything would prove to probably sway the decision there. She's like insanely scrappy. Like I know for strawweight size, but like even on the ground, she's able to just move quick, and she looks a lot more powerful than you would think at that size. So shout out my girl Baby Shark getting me the 3 points. Thank you very much, Artie.
Yeah, I'm the OG of the Shark Army. Come on, bro. Like
this is true.
Don't leave me hanging like that.
This is true.
It was. I honestly, I don't know that. Like split decision was probably right. It was too close for me to tell who actually won that, and I think for Tabitha Ricci, she's lucky that she is somebody who's a prospect because if she wasn't, I think Tasha Pennington would have definitely had that one. They both looked really good, a lot of output, obviously for strawweights, so it was a fun fight to watch. Usually, women's fights at strawweight seem to have been kind of fun lately, so I'm glad we're keeping that going. Doc?
I agree with the decision, but I wasn't super impressed by either fighter. So I think congrats on the 3 points, but you might be getting one more point from her the rest of the year because
Yeah, that performance.
not great. Not great.
I agree. But we got 3. We're on the board. I'll take what I can get. I'm sitting at 8 points, Stock with 15, Artie with 23. For all those of you keeping track, shout out all y'all real fans out there. But yeah, then what we'll talk about immediately is the fight of the night in the pride of Groton, Connecticut. Billy Ray Goff putting on an absolute incredible performance to go against Trey Waters and give it his all. Like this guy, when he fights, he's going to fight. Like he obviously don't look up his face pictures after the fight. He got absolutely rocked, and the damage is what honestly did it for me in the decision. But like, I was impressed. Even when he was gassed, like he was still ready to go. The end of the first round, they were swinging Max Holloway Gaethje style, like trying to connect and just end it early. And that kind of just made it like, what are we doing here? It's the first round, boys. Like we're gonna gas out. Came back in the second round, weren't gassed out. Third round, okay, we started to gas out, but like, I don't know. Everyone's saying, "Oh, Billy Ray Goff got robbed," blah blah blah. But if you go rewatch that fight, Trey Waters absolutely had control of that fight the whole time. Artie,
I didn't catch too much of this one. As I was texting you guys and you guys started to bully me, I only saw like 2 minutes left of the third round. And I was like,
we didn't bully him.
But yeah, I mean,
Doc.
Yeah, those first 2 rounds were fantastic. I was not expecting to see that. I really
Especially
thought
that early.
Trey Waters, I thought, was gassed at the end of the first round, especially when they were throwing down, and then somehow like he came back really strong that second round. The other guy's chin is crazy because Trey Waters was connecting clean. He has the arm length leverage with his shots, and I don't know, he kept on coming forward, and yeah, Trey Waters doesn't fight great going off the back foot. So super impressive win. I agree with the decision. I don't think that there was any sort of robbery going on here. But big ups to both these fighters. Showed a lot of heart in there and really gave us a great performance on the prelims. Both of them, their stock is improving for the UFC.
Agreed. 2 fights left. I personally didn't watch them, but my boy Charles Johnson riding the underdog again. He was an underdog in his last fight when he won. He got it done against Jake Hadley.
Yeah. Do you know who he fought last time?
Yeah, Maxim.
Assad Maxim. Yeah. So this is why we picked Charles Johnson, because this guy surprises everyone all the time. He looked a bit weak in the first round here, and second and third round, and he admits this. He just gets better as the fight goes on. His cardio is what pushed him to victory. He's a good tactician in there. So he clearly won this fight in my eyes, and good for him, and did it in front of his home crowd. So let's see him back out there. He seemingly wants to fight a lot. We're seeing him out there at many events this year. So good for him.
Agree more. Artie didn't have Charles Johnson, but I know he was willing to switch if put a little bit more thought into it and rode with the boys, but Nah, he's standing on business as always. Doc, I'll pass the mic off to you. Or Artie, do you want to say something in rebuttal?
No, I mean, I guess Charles Johnson. Yay. I don't know. I still, you'd still have to convince me to pick him again in the next card that he's on. Like, he will surprise people, but I think that's really all he kind of has at the moment is really surprise. Like, nobody thought he was going to come out and beat Moxum, and I didn't think he was going to beat Jake Hadley. Jake Hadley was a prospect going into this. He did lose his last one before this, but he still is a good fighter. So,
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. And Doc, I'll pass the mic off to you for the last fight. Veronica Hardy defeating JJ Aldrich via UD. Did you watch this one?
I did watch it. Yeah, it was an okay fight. I thought JJ Aldrich did a lot of good stuff here. So I don't remember if it was split decision or unanimous, but super close fight. I think it could have gone either way. I honestly thought that Aldrich won the fight, but it is what it is. Interesting though that this was the opener on the card. I would have kind of preferred Charles Johnson to open it as a guy from St. Louis, but it is what it is. Not the most exciting fight, but I do think JJ Aldrich got robbed a bit.
Can't say anything. All I can say is I think you're a little biased because you picked JJ Aldrich, but I'm just teasing you. Yeah, that's your St. Louis card overall. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I'll be nice. Robellis, you ruined it for me. You really did. But yeah, that's the whole card. Picks were up earlier. Locks of the card. Artie hitting on Sean Woodson, Doc hitting on Olberg. We're just going to move past my lock at this point.
I will say, sorry, before we finish, although it was a 6 out of 10, biggest gate in Fight Night history, beating out Austin. Unexpected in St. Louis. St. Louis, middle of America, decent sports market, but you were saying a bunch of Uzbeks came out to support over there. I don't know what it is, but St. Louis, when these sporting events come out there, people show up. So Dana wants to go back to St. Louis, and I don't blame him. That arena was loud from the first fight all the way through to the last fight. When Buckley was coming out, I mean, it was deafening in there. So good for St. Louis, showing off the city a bit. And yeah, I really do think that we're going to see more fights in St. Louis. And the last thing, I know that we're not signing off yet, but one thing that Dana said at the press conference is that he's really trying to move away from the Apex, which we all want to see. So expect other cities for these fights. St. Louis has been exposed now as a great venue. So I wonder where else they're going to come. I'm shouting out Norfolk, Virginia. You've had an event here before. Bring him back. Chartway Arena.
I was smiling just now because that was literally going to be my next point before we signed off. I was going to surprise you guys with that. He made a promise, not just said, he made a promise that we're not doing Apex as much this year. So we'll see what he sticks to that. Would obviously love to see an actual in arena and away from, quieter crowds. It's, there's no more coronavirus anymore. Hopefully I didn't just jinx it. But overall, I definitely don't want to see any more Apex cards. St. Louis, Norfolk, Virginia, I don't care. A random gym in Florida. Get a crowd in front of them. Please. Please. Artie?
I do think we still need the UFC Apex because every once in a while we will have a fight night like we're going to have next week where you look at the whole thing and you're like, who are all of these people? They do still deserve screen time, and it doesn't necessarily need to be out in front of a big crowd because they know they're not going to sell it. I had another thing, and I think, Alex, I ranted about this to you not too long ago. What is happening in the heavyweight division? Like, what is going on at the top? Cyril Gane, where are you? Who are you
September.
to say that you... What? He's fighting
September. We're fighting in September in France. That's the rumor. No, still, if September is the first fight, that's so long. Like,
it'll be a year.
Yeah.
And that's not confirmed. So I don't like that you stopped me, because this dude has declined fight after fight after fight, even though people are reaching out to him, and there are good arguments for why those fights should have been had. He will make up an excuse. He's doing a movie or something. Like, I just don't get why we have people like that in the UFC that get to hold on to their ranking for as long as they do. It just does not make sense. He should be fighting. He's healthy enough to fight, but he just declined. I think his last thing was he wants to fight somebody who's got below like a 30 BMI or something like that. I don't care, dude. It's the heavyweight division. It's not going to happen. The other thing too, like, what's going to happen with our boy the interim champion? Yeah, Tom Aspinall. What are we doing? What is going on in the heavyweight division? I feel like we're being robbed of so many exciting fights. And I know we have Volkov versus Pavlovich, but like we need more of good heavyweights fighting in the UFC. If I see another Derek Lewis versus random made up heavyweight guy that Dana found one day, I don't want to watch it anymore. I don't. I want to see good ranked heavyweights fight, and it's just been too long. I feel like at this point. That's it. That's all I had.
Standing on business, my boy Artie, as always. I completely agree. No, I made the Gone joke in support of your argument for the first fight you have back since losing to John Jones is in September. I get it's in your home country and you waited out, but September, you should have gotten something before then. But yeah, we'll see how the heavyweight division shakes up, Tom. Maybe he fights Alex Pereira. We'll have to wait and see if that ever holds true. That probably won't happen anytime soon, but even that would piss Artie off, as I can see.
He's not even a heavyweight fighter. Why are we doing this? Why?
Yes. That's the card. Ring Boys signing off here shortly. Are we gonna cover, honestly, let's just have an open discussion. Are we covering next week's card, or should we just tweet out the picks?
I'm sure that'll be news for us to cover after the fight. So
we'll do another episode.
Yeah.
I'm always down.
All right.
Yeah.
We could talk about the heavyweight division instead of the fights.
The Ring Boys heavyweight episode, 2 hours and a half long. It's like longer than a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Just me ranting about Cyril Gane the whole time too.
I wouldn't put it past you, honestly. I'd love to hear it. Until then, this has been the Ring Boys. That's your card in St. Louis next week. Where is the card next week? Barboza and Murphy? Oh, Apex card. All right. So yeah, so definitely we'll be covering that. I know Temba Garimbo's on there. The Rock's favorite supported fighter, so I'll be hyped for that. Shots from Adrian Yanez from Doc. I beat you to it. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Till then, this has been the Ring Boys. We do it for you, by the common man, for the common man. And yeah, anything else, boys? Peace.